It's Wednesday, July 26. In the headlines, child care law amended. In business news, cooking gas giant RPL teams up with Just Gas to reach corporate area. Regionally, Cayman Airways launches direct flights to Barbados. And internationally, IMF forecasts continued high inflation in 2024. In sports, appeal against Bunny's red card rejected. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. It's a new day for the child care and protection ecosystem. Those words from Minister of Education and Youth, Favour Williams, as she spoke of the amendment to the Child Care and Protection Law at Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief. Parliament passed the amendment on Tuesday, and according to Minister Williams, when enacted, it will offer a kinder environment for Jamaican children experiencing behavioural challenges.
Oftentimes, that child will be sent to a correctional institution. The amendment in Parliament yesterday will put an end to that. Instead, 19 years after the Child Care and Protection Act was approved in Parliament in 2004, we're finally here in this moment in time. This government has taken the Child Care and Protection Act to Parliament and repealed the bedeviling Section 24.
She says going forward, those children brought before the court will be assessed by a behavioural specialist.
And a care plan would be agreed having regard to the results of a social inquiry report and a psychological or psychiatric report.
The amendment will also see Jamaica falling in line with international best practices.
The amendment of the Child Care and Protection Act includes the repeal of Section 24(2), which will enable Jamaica to become compliant with its obligations under notable international treaties on child justice and child rights, and establish a fairer and more equitable means of treating with cases involving children exhibiting behavioral challenges.
The Student Loan Bureau, SLB, says its recent announcement of increased sums allocated for grant in aid is in recognition of the value of human capital. The SLB will distribute 4,200 grants, up from the original 3,000 grants that were usually provided to students of PATH households, wards of the state, or low-income households. Executive Director of the Students Loan Bureau, Nikisha Walsh, says the SLB's main focus is to ensure that qualified Jamaican students have access to funds for tertiary education.
By developing diverse product offerings that are attractive and affordable, especially for those who are less fortunate. For 52 years, we have delivered on this mandate. And for 52 years, we have disbursed over $58 billion, and I repeat, $58 billion in loan to approximately 350,000 students.
She reminded the audience that the SLB has other loan facilities for those who do not fall in the categories for grant in aid.
The SLB, outside of the grant, has 3 loan solutions supported by a one guarantor policy. That is, you're only required one guarantor required to apply for a loan. Our flagship product Targeted is designed for students pursuing undergraduate programs and are not required to repay until the completion of your studies.
She says they have worked towards improving their product offering to make it more affordable.
Several policy changes have improved this product offering geared toward easier access and affordable repayments, such as 15 to 20 years loan tenure, 14 months moratorium period. That means when you graduate, you have 14 months before you repay your loan. That is indeed significant. And one of the lowest interest rates.
The Constitution was amended by legislators to increase the retirement age of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP, and the Auditor General from age 60 to 65. Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck, in piloting the bill, explained that the Constitution of Jamaica establishes a retirement age of 60 for the position of the Auditor General and the DPP via Sections 96, Exception 1 and Section 121, Subsection 1, respectively. He gave further explanation at Wednesday's post-cabinet press brief.
This was a process that was recommended from 2016. When the pension bill came to cabinet on the 25th of July 1916 to be exact, as recorded in the minutes of cabinet. Not only did we approve the bill to go to Parliament, and it was passed in 2017, but the records show that the recommendation was made for the two constitutional offices of the DPP and the Auditor General to be moved from 60 to 65 so that they too can benefit from the increased retirement age.
Time now for the Business Report with Danita Rodney.
Regency Petroleum Limited, RPL, the first liquefied petroleum gas company to list on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, has announced its expansion into the corporate areas of Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine. The new agreement, which was formalized during a joint company press launch held on Monday, July 17, will see local gas retailer Just Gas Distributors Limited become the primary distributor of RPL's bulk cooking gas in the corporate areas. The strategic alliance leverages RPL's expertise in providing high-quality petroleum products and Just Gas's distribution network to bring commercial customers cooking gas supplies. Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Tuesday, July 25, the US dollar sold for an average of $155.35. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $117.28. The pound sterling traded for $199.61, and the euro sold for $170.97. In GSE trading, the GSE index declined by 1,300 points. The junior market index declined by 5 points. The combined market index declined by 1,264 points, and the All Jamaican Composite Index advanced by 114 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 108 stocks, of which 46 advanced, 46 declined, and 16 traded firm. Stocks advanced for AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, Cargo Handlers Limited, and Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Viable Preference, Barita Investments Limited, and the Blue Power Group Limited. Trading firm were 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, First Rock Real Estate Investments Limited USD, and iCreate Limited Ordinary Shares. The overall volume leaders were Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with over 4 million units, One-on-One Educational Services Limited, and Dollar Financial Services Limited with over 2 million units. In regional stocks, on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, Calypso Macro Index Fund posted 100 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Apple Caribbean Property Fund Development Fund was the volume leader with 15,000 shares. They were followed by Goddard Enterprises Limited, which traded over 2,000 shares. In regional business, a team of officials from the Dominican Republic is in Guyana to explore additional areas for investment collaboration between the two countries.
Foreign Secretary Robert Prasad met with the team at Ramphal House, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation on Tuesday, where he reaffirmed government's dedication to fostering greater collaboration with the country.
We are also equally seriously committed. As you describe it, it's a historical moment, and certainly we want to make full use in bringing our peoples together and looking at the vast opportunities there that exist for cooperation both to government, but as well as the private sector.
This delegation's visit is expected to set the stage for His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali's upcoming visit to the Dominican Republic. In June, His Excellency Luis Abinader, President of the Dominican Republic, paid a visit to Guyana and engaged in discussions with President Ali, which focused on enhancing bilateral relations. The President's visit to Guyana also saw the signing of bilateral agreements on political consultation, air services, and energy cooperation. Further, this visit saw the establishment of the Dominican Republic Embassy in Georgetown and the accreditation of the resident ambassador, His Excellency Ernesto Torres Pereira.
In international business, U.S. stocks ended higher on Tuesday, led by the tech-heavy Nasdaq, with investors excited over artificial intelligence before Alphabet and Microsoft reported earnings.
The Dow edged up fractionally, the S&P 500 added nearly 0.3%, and the Nasdaq climbed 0.6. Shares of Google parent Alphabet, which ended up 0.75% at the close, soared higher in after-hours trading after the tech giant beat analysts' estimates on second quarter profit. Demand grew for its cloud service, which is expected to further benefit from the adoption of AI tools. Microsoft, too, beat sales and profit estimates. Its shares, up more than 1.5% at the close, dipped slightly in after-hours trading as the company posted a steep sequential rise in capital spending. But shares of social media firm Snap, which beat revenue and user targets, plunged as much as 19% in early after-hours trading after delivering weaker third-quarter guidance as it works to compete with tech giants for advertising dollars. Wall Street overall has proven resilient during this earnings season and in the days leading up to what is all but certain to be another 25 basis point rate hike by the Federal Reserve on Wednesday. But with warning signs ahead, now may be the time for investors to take profits, says Ryan Belanger, managing principal at Claro Advisors.
I think economically we just have a lot of headwinds, and I would not be investing new cash into this market necessarily at these valuations. And just economically, I think we have some structural issues to figure out, not only fiscally, but monetary policy.
A survey out Tuesday showed consumer confidence increased to a 2-year high in July amid continued optimism about the labor market and despite worries about a possible recession.
In market data for oil prices slipped with investors cautious ahead of an expected Federal Reserve rate hike later in the day and a possible increase in U.S. crude supplies. Brent crude futures were down 93 cents to $82.71 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude was at $78.68, down 95 cents. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.
In regional news, Barbados' tourism arrivals should get another boost with Cayman Airways commencing flights into the island from October 18 this year. The announcement was made during a joint virtual press briefing with local and Cayman Islands tourism officials.
I'm very excited to announce the introduction of a new direct airline service between two beautiful and vibrant Caribbean destinations, the Cayman Islands and Barbados.
The big announcement at Monday's Ministry of Tourism and Ports press briefing. The national airline, Cayman Airways, will begin direct flights to Barbados on October 18th. Minister Bryan says the flights are part of the broader route diversification strategy that's all aimed at expanding global connectivity and maximizing the Cayman Airways fleet. Barbados Minister of Tourism and International Transport, the Honorable Ian Gooden Edgehill, was on the panel as well via Zoom.
If the past is any indication, I'm sure that this service will prove successful, as Barbados has previously partnered with Cayman Airways to provide a charter service between Barbados and the Cayman Islands. We have studied those successful charters, and they have been the backbone of the establishment of this service beginning later this year.
News from Grenada. The Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, has pledged $1.8 million to help develop creative industries in the region. More from GBN News.
The monarch of the Ashanti Kingdom, the Asantehene, His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II of Ghana, will be visiting from July 30th to August 5th and will be the guest of honor at our 2023 Emancipation celebrations. His visit follows Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley extending an invitation to the Asantehene in March 2020 during his visit to Ghana for that country's 63rd independence celebrations hosted in the Ashanti region. According to the Office of the Prime Minister, the Asantehene expressed his eagerness to visit Trinidad and Tobago, his anticipation of the establishment of an Ashanti village in Trinidad and Tobago, and the formation of linkages between the Caribbean and Ghana. Ghana's royal ties to Trinidad and Tobago can be dated as far back as 1881, with the arrival of Prince Kofi Nti of Ashanti, West Africa. In 1883, Prince Kofi Nti designed a signal station which was built at Fort St. George, Port of Spain.
Trinidad and Tobago is preparing to welcome royalty. TTT Live has the details.
The bank's board of directors recently approved a grant to its Creative Industries Innovation Fund. CIIF is a multi-donor foundation established in 2017 to foster innovation, job creation, and improve the corporate sustainability in the industry. Globally, the creative economy is recognized as a growth sector and a meaningful contributor to gross domestic product, GDP, having the capacity to spur innovation and knowledge transfer across all sectors of the economy. CIIF, which is governed by a cross-section of regional organizations and administered by CDB, has since inception financed approximately US $1.2 million in a variety of initiatives spanning music production, distribution, sales and events, audiovisual, film, animation and gaming, festivals and carnivals, fashion and contemporary design through non-reimbursable grants. The bank's continued investment in the fund will enable the creative industries sector to make a greater distribution to economic performance and foreign exchange, earning by improving the enabling environment, improving data collection and reporting, and increasing the competitiveness of beneficiaries' MSMEs. This will build social resilience by ensuring no one is left behind and contributes to economic resilience for conclusive growth. For GBN News, I'm Rena Pett Thomas reporting.
In international news, food prices have surged nearly 6% this year in the U.S., and food banks are serving higher numbers than ever. The IMF says the inflation is pressuring millions of people.
You don't usually see people at a food bank look quite as excited as Nancy Canoes.
My birthday cake. Nobody made one, nobody gave me one. No.
This is not your typical food bank. Manna Food Center in Maryland doesn't just give those in need a box of pre-selected food, but they get to shop for the essentials they actually like.
You want any oranges?
They are now serving the highest number of people in its 40-year history.
Having opportunities like this allow me to use my money in other ways without worrying about having to worry about the struggle of getting food.
Food prices have soared by almost 6% in the U.S. this year, impacting people across the socioeconomic spectrum.
For many of them, they say, this is my first time ever coming to a food bank. I've never asked for help before, but right now I just can't afford the prices in the grocery store and the price of gas and everything else. So a lot of first-time families that we see every week.
The International Monetary Fund forecasts inflation in the U.S. and in most countries around the globe will get better, but not by much.
This year, about 98% of the countries that have inflation targets have inflation above the target. And going into next year, into 2024, that number, is going from 98 to 89.
Which means more people will need to come here, not just in the coming months, but likely years ahead.
I can't even drive places.
You understand? Gas is just so high right now. So the things that I've used to have done before, I just can't do anything. Everything is just pretty much limited.
For millions across the globe, this isn't just about a forecast or even the numbers, but a constant state of sacrifice that the International Monetary Fund says will continue for some time. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.
In sports, the appeal brought by the Jamaica Football Federation, JFF, against the red card issued to Reggae Girls captain Khadija Bunny Shaw in a match last Sunday has been rejected. Reggae Girls captain was given a red card in the closing stages of the 0-0 draw against France in their opening FIFA World Cup match, but there has been public debate about the fairness of the yellow cards in the two instances. JFF press officer Earl Bailey confirmed on Tuesday evening that the local governing body was unsuccessful in its efforts to have the red card overturned. Shaw will now miss the crucial game against Panama on Saturday, but her teammates have vowed to dedicate the match to their leader. With the second and final test between the West Indies and India ending in a rainy draw, attention now turns to the one-day internationals. That series begins on Thursday in Barbados. We have more on that, plus Test captain Craig Brathwaite's post-series interview.
With the West Indies on 76 for 2 and needing 289 for a victory on the final day to square the series at 1, persistent rain in Port of Spain negated any hope of a result and giving India a 1-0 series win. The West Indies skipper spoke to the media about the outcome.
We were looking forward to day 5. Obviously 280 runs to win and 8 overs was possible, for the win. Obviously you can't control the weather. I think as a bowling unit, I still think there's areas we could, cut down on our run rates. I think at times we bowl to both sides. So I think we could be a little more disciplined with the ball, controlling the run rate of the batsman at times. And batting wise, we showed some fight here, batting over 100 overs, which was good. But the key is obviously to be consistent. And the key to consistency is obviously discipline. And as batters, discipline could be if you're practicing every day, and you're not taking it off there. So it's just, small things like that.
The one-day international series is scheduled to bowl off at Kensington Oval in Barbados on Thursday. And Cricket West Indies on Monday named the squad to take on the Indians, and it will be led by Shea Hope. And he sees the return of Shamron Hidmaya and O'Shane Thomas to international cricket, while all-rounder Jason Holder and Nicholas Puran will also miss the series, as it was indicated that they are unavailable for selection. There is also the curious absence of Akil Hussain, who has proven to be a formidable all-round threat in this format. The full squad is Shea Hope as captain. The vice-captain is Rovman Powell, Alec Atades, Yannick Correa, Casey Carty, Dominic Drakes, Shamron Hipmeyer, Alzari Joseph, Brandon King, Kyle Mayers, Gudakesh Muti, Jane Seals, Romario Shepherd, Kevin Sinclair, and O'Shane Thomas. There are additional players in the camp for the white ball preparation. They are Dennis Bully, Roston Chase, McKenny Clark, Kavem Hodge, Jaheir McAllister, Obed McCoy, and Kevin Wickham. The first and second ODIs are scheduled for Bridgetown on July 27 and 29th, while the third will be in Trinidad at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Taruba on the 1st of August. Wayne Cunningham, TTT Sport.
And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.